The story of Range Rover is the story of a vehicle that has always stood apart. The story of how the concept of a luxury go-anywhere vehicle was invented, and the story of how, over 50 years, the Range Rover still leads by example, still peerless. Now, the latest evolution of Range Rover advances this unique appeal even further. Breathtakingly modern, electrified, and connected, effectively redefining the modern luxury SUV with new levels of sophistication, refinement, and capability. Now, in the half century since Range Rover entered our cultural history, the world, of course, has changed beyond all recognition. Yet, by contrast, for all its own evolution, the Range Rover remains unmistakable and in a class of its own, a design and an engineering landmark. The first Range Rover was conceived in the late 1960s, and the bold idea was to create a vehicle with the capabilities of a Land Rover, but now with the added breadth of capability and refinement, to be equally at home whether at the farmhouse or the opera house. And on the 17th of June 1970, it was introduced to the world as a car for all reasons. Now, in embodying this duality of capability and refinement, Range Rover wasn't just a new vehicle, it effectively invented a new vehicle segment. And just as importantly, almost immediately, it was recognized as a design classic. In fact, as we know, it was called an exemplary work of industrial design and was in fact the first vehicle to be displayed at the world-famous Louvre Museum in Paris. From these origins of an expanded breadth of capability, it was perhaps inevitable that the breadth of offer would also be expanded. Now, originally and for the first decade, Range Rover was a 3-door only, and then a 5-door was added in 1981. It was also the first Land Rover to break the US market and be officially sold there from 1987. It would be 5 more years before it was joined by the Defender and the brand new Discovery in the newly formed Land Rover North America. And for customers on both sides of the Atlantic, the first long wheelbase model arrived in 1992. In total, the first generation of Range Rover ran for an unbelievable 25 years. Now, of course, more recently, we have evolved another range where Range Rover is unrivaled, the growth of the family and the range of models now available. With the addition of the Range Rover Sport in 2005, the Range Rover Evoque in 2011, and most recently, the Range Rover Velar in 2017, the appeal of the Range Rover has grown into new segments, and in doing so, attracted new customers. Now, conventional wisdom would suggest that as each of these new vehicles have been added to the Range Rover family, then you might have expected that demand for the Range Rover itself would have declined. In fact, the opposite has been true. As each successive generation of Range Rover has evolved, so too has its customer base, from the original archetype of the landed gentry to become the vehicle of choice for today's life's leaders. So Range Rover then has evolved to become a global phenomenon, attracting an unrivaled range of customers across a diverse range of interests and locations. In fact, life's leaders these days are just as likely to be found in sports, entertainment, medicine or science as in business or politics. So what brings such a diverse range of customers together? What do high achievers in all walks of life appreciate? Well, they share an appreciation of Range Rover's authenticity and of its deep design and engineering integrity. They appreciate Range Rover as a reward for their hard work and hard-won success. And they look to Range Rover as a vehicle that is not simply best in its class, but in a class of one. That is the universal appeal of Range Rover and its unique definition of luxury. And of course, now at the beginning of its new generation, Range Rover embodies our reimagined strategy of redefining modern luxury by design. Today, the core DNA of Range Rover remains peerless capability and refinement. And like all great luxury products, through its compelling design, it adds an emotional appeal and desirability. Now, of course, true modern luxury brands are respectful of their past, but more importantly, they make and define their own future. And that is the essence of new Range Rover, a new generation of Range Rover that recognises and advances the Range Rover DNA of capability and refinement, but now with breathtaking modernity. It's a generation that will offer fully electric, plug-in hybrid and mild hybrid power. It's also a generation that redefines well-being in up to 7 seats. And it's a generation that will be always on, always connected, and with software over the air, always up to date. Now, in terms of the new Range Rover product offer, we've intentionally built a simple selection of choices that will allow customers to both curate and configure their Range Rover, with a curated choice of exterior and interior colours and materials, alongside the ability to configure to your chosen wheelbase, powertrain, model, and then options and accessories. For our curated colours and materials, modern luxury extends beyond the conventional to include on the outside contemporary satin paint options and on the inside sustainable progressive materiality options. For the configurable specification, the starting point is the choice between 2 wheelbases, standard and long, with 3 seating layouts, 4, 5, and now for the first time 7 seats available with the long wheelbase. For powertrains, customers will have the option of a plug-in hybrid with an extended EV range of up to 100 kilometres. And, excitingly, in 2024, a fully electric Range Rover will join the family, bringing the ultimate in Range Rover refinement with silent zero-emissions driving. At launch, the plug-in hybrid will be joined by a mild hybrid diesel or petrol and a petrol V8. For models, customers will have 4 choices: the core Range Rover with option packs of SE and HSE, the autobiography, the first edition, and at the pinnacle of the range, the SV. Now, the autobiography model builds on the appeal of prior generations. First launched in 1994, it now accounts for more than 20% of our global sales. Also, available for the first model year, we will have the celebratory first edition, which takes all the specification of autobiography, and to that adds 23-inch wheels, privacy glass, and rear seat entertainment amongst its standard features. And of course, for those customers who want even more exclusivity and personalisation, then enter the new Range Rover SV, the first vehicle in our portfolio to carry the new roundel and to be known simply as SV. Now, the SV name represents the purest distillation of our design and engineering passion. Whether driving themselves or being driven, SV customers share a desire for modern, iconic design with an expectation to tailor their Range Rover even further. So, with that in mind, the new Range Rover SV offers even more choice, heightened craftsmanship and functional enhancements. For example, the executive class rear seats can now be specified for 2 or 3 occupants, creating the first 5-seat long wheelbase Range Rover SV. Or, for the ultimate passenger experience on long wheelbase models, the new 4-seat SV Signature Suite creates a peerless travelling environment. Refined over 50 years, Range Rover has combined refinement and capability to unprecedented heights. It remains in a class of one, always unique and never out of place. And the latest generation successfully evolves this winning formula in a world of modern luxury. It is truly the most desirable Range Rover ever created.